The AVAX token has been on fire over the past year, up about 350% from the bear market lows, and I do believe this move to the upside is warranted with some of the biggest partnerships from both the technology sector and major financial institutions, including Amazon, JPMorgan, and Citigroup, not to mention the fact that the Avalanche 2.0 upgrade is on the way. So in today's episode of the Everything Crypto Show, we're going to break down these partnerships, break down Avalanche 2.0 and what this means for the AVAX token and what I am expecting from this altcoin moving forward. Now, before we hop into the content, just a friendly reminder that I am not a financial advisor. I am simply here for your crypto news and entertainment purposes. And if you do enjoy the content, please consider hitting that sub and like button and turn that notification bell on so you can be notified when all of our latest videos go live on the channel. Now, hopping right into the video, I do want to give you guys a quick update on AVAX. We haven't spoken about it too recently on the channel. We were covering this project a lot heavier near the bear market lows in that like $8 to $12 range, more or less. And the last time we actually made a video on AVAX was in mid-November when it was at about $12. We do have that on the channel, top 3 crypto coins for November. And, since then, AVAX really did start on this massive move to the upside. It peaked at about $49 late last year, currently sits at $36 as of the time of this recording. But I do still remain very bullish on this project, and I do think it is set to be one of the biggest winners of the upcoming bull run. So we're going to break down the partnerships and Avalanche 2.0 a little bit more in depth. But first, I do want to cover, the one thing that makes Avalanche unique from every other Layer 1 blockchain. And this is the reason why I personally have been so bullish on this project for a while. That is their subnet feature. So subnets are essentially their own blockchains that are also helping to validate the primary network while running separately of each other. This means that every subnet that is created is helping to validate the primary network while also running on its own isolated chain, meaning that none of these subnets are competing for transactions, effectively meaning that the Avalanche blockchain does have infinite scalability through their subnet feature. It effectively allows institutions and anybody who wants to launch their very own subnetwork. And these subnets are fully customizable. They can have their own token economics with their own native tokens, their own fee markets, incentives determined by the subnet deployer. These subnets can be optimized for multiple different use cases, whether it's gaming, whether it's finance, whether it's Forex, which is something that the big banks like JPMorgan and Citigroup took interest in Avalanche for, which we will cover again later in that video. But, the subnet feature, in my opinion, is the big reason that Avalanche has seen a lot of adoption from some of the biggest companies in the world, and why I do believe that it sets itself apart from every other blockchain. We have other blockchains talking about how many transactions their layer 1 can process. The ceiling for Avalanche is effectively infinite as more and more subnets can continuously be powered, also helping to validate the primary network while not, congesting or basically conflicting with each other whatsoever. So the reason that this does also bring value to the AVAX token itself is because you still have to stake 2,000 AVAX and become a validator of the primary network in order to even open up a subnet. So first of all, the subnet helps validate the primary network. Whoever opens up this subnet has to lock up 2,000 AVAX to actually begin the process of creating their subnet, and then they can create their very own customizable blockchain. So it's a pretty neat way to actually bring value to the person building out on an Avalanche subnet while also accruing this value back to validation of the primary network and basically locking up AVAX and removing it from the buying and selling markets, which I am always in favor of. And on top of that, we do have Avalanche staking as well, which is another pretty neat way to get a bunch of AVAX off the market. And AVAX staking rewards at the moment are sitting at a pretty nice yield of about 7.7%. So we can see here that there is 264 million AVAX being staked at the moment, which is equivalent to about 60% of the circulating supply. So, between subnets and staking, there are just a lot of different use cases for the AVAX token aside from simply paying gas. And this token does not have a big supply to begin with, sitting at 720 mil total, 367 million circulating, and half of the supply is going to staking rewards. So that's something to keep in mind, but we'll get into the chart and the tokenomics later in this video. I just wanted to briefly describe the subnet feature, which basically allows for infinite scalability of the Avalanche blockchain. And now I do want to hop into a couple of key partnerships, all of which you're going to see are, tailored towards adopting this subnet feature that we just discussed. So we saw AWS partner with Avalanche to scale blockchain solutions for enterprises and governments. We know that a lot of different altcoins do actually use AWS. However, to my knowledge, this was the first, mutually beneficial partnership that was struck between Amazon Web Services and a crypto or blockchain, foundation. And they did pick Ava Labs. It says right here that they plan to add their subnet deployment as a managed service to the AWS marketplace, so individuals and institutions can launch their own custom subnets easily. And it once again states right here, subnets are a part of Avalanche's scaling solution, diverting traffic away from the main blockchain and allowing projects to stake the AVAX token while creating their own layer 1s and layer 2s. And I'm just looking for the quote right here. But basically, yeah, so the two companies are collaborating on events, and it is a strategic long-term partnership. So the complement of the Subnet and the Amazon Activate program, they do think is a pretty big step in the right direction. And I do think that was pretty accurate, okay, because this news was announced, early last year. But since then, or, following that news, we also saw Avalanche partner up with Tencent. We saw them partner up with Alibaba. And we did also see them partner up with some of the biggest banks in America. This was more recently. This was in November of last year. And I do believe this is what really started this big move to the upside for the altcoin, when it was actually announced that both JPMorgan and Citigroup were using Avalanche for their own blockchain needs. So JPMorgan, for those of you that don't know, they have their own private blockchain called Onyx. And what they basically did was they connected Onyx to a permissioned Avalanche Evergreen subnet through Layer 0 Labs, enabling seamless subscriptions and redemptions for funds offered by WisdomTree. So WisdomTree, another very big asset manager. And we saw the launch of Avalanche Evergreen subnets earlier this year, which was basically tailored towards institutions who wanted to use blockchains for different use cases. And we basically saw here that JPMorgan was able to connect their own private blockchain to a permissioned Avalanche Evergreen subnet and then enable the subscriptions and redemption for funds. Now, we also did actually see Citigroup adopt an Avalanche blockchain here, or rather, they selected Avalanche's Ava Cloud as a part of Project Guardian and developed in collaboration with the Monetary Authority of Singapore and the country's financial industry. The application underwent testing for spot forex on the US dollar to Singapore dollar trade. And they say notably, its adaptability allows it to be customized for any fiat currency pair. So JPMorgan using it for redemption for funds, Citigroup using Avalanche subnets for forex trading. And yeah, that would explain why the AVAX token did see such a massive move to the upside. Now, despite all the adoption that subnets have seen so far, the Avalanche team does continue to build. So I'm going to play this clip of the Ava Labs CEO talking about Avalanche 2.0, and then we are going to discuss that quickly and take a look at the AVAX token chart to wrap up this video.
Avalanche V2 is in the works. We have a lot of protocol improvements to reduce finality time even further than what it is. We always advertise 1 to 2 seconds. You may or may not know that in reality it's about 740 milliseconds. So this thing is already fast, but I want to bring it down to about 100 or 200 milliseconds. You should be able to interact with a blockchain as if you're interacting with a website. Of course, we have seamless integration between subnets coming out, and we have connectivity to non-Avalanche chains coming out. You should be able to do something on Ethereum and then followed by something on Solana, all directed by activity on an Avalanche chain.
So there you have it. Avalanche 2.0 is on the way. And this again was also announced in and around, actually, it was announced in, I would say, like late October, early November. We actually did see that clip before majority of people did. And I said that I felt it would be a pretty big catalyst for an upside move when the clip was more sort of like widely discussed. And yeah, now we do have more people talking about Avalanche 2.0. And this is something that, they don't really have a firm timeline on, and I am totally okay with that. In fact, I think the longer it holds off would probably be better that way. It just kind of helps build the narrative and build even more hype for the launch whenever that does officially come. Now, taking a look at the chart to wrap things up, okay, as we mentioned at the beginning of the video, the AVAX token itself is currently up about 370% from the bear market lows. At its peak at about, $48. We were looking at about a 563% move from the bottom. So let's take a look at, let's actually go ahead and take a look at the 1 year. And then I'm going to zoom out. And the big thing I was really watching on AVAX last year was just this constant rejection at the $20 area, as well as the big area of support in and around that $10 area. Anything below $10 effectively was fire sale range. And yeah, you can basically see here that after this thing broke out above $20, back tested it as support, and then went ahead and broke above the early year highs at $30. So if I actually zoom in here to just kind of take a look at the price action from early, let's say from 2023, okay, because this was actually back in 2022. So in 2023, we were just getting rejected at the $20 area. I mean, pretty steady, right? And then we actually finally saw AVAX break above it over here, back test that as an area of support, and that kind of led to the next leg up to the upside. Then zooming out, the next area of resistance was at that $30 area where AVAX got rejected in August of 2022, and that kind of did mark a local top for about a year and a half there, as it proceeded to fall, an additional like 60% after falling a big chunk from those highs at $147. All the way down to $10. So we saw it act as resistance back here in August of 2022. And then we saw here on that big move to the upside, AVAX just ripped right above it and went on that big run up to $49.50 more or less. Now zooming in, ever since that run back up to $49.50, let's just call it $50. What I'm seeing here is AVAX actually did backtest this $30 area as a level of support. It was a little bit choppy as it did actually break below it, wicking down to $27.50 at one point. However, if you zoom out here, it does in fact look like so far it has successfully backtested it as support. And will it stay like this? I mean, I don't know. That's the thing, right? We don't know what's going to happen in the future. What I do know is that I am definitely eyeing that $30 area as an area of support. If it broke below it, then I would expect lower prices. But if we can stay above that $30 area, then technically speaking, this coin does look pretty good in my opinion. And, based on what we spoke about in this video, I do also believe that from a fundamental perspective, it is strong as well. So on that note, I hope you did enjoy the content in today's video. I hope you are all staying happy, safe, and healthy, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace out for now.